Alright, so today we are going to do a new lesson on simplifying fractions. So, we're going to start with a fraction, and we're going to start with 6 over 12. So this is our fraction. Now, when we say simplifying fractions, that means I'm taking my fraction and writing it in the smallest way I possibly can. Okay, so, and you should have a note page on this in your journal, or the picture, you might have printed it out, that was uploaded as well. But if you want to rewrite this down, it's a great way to help your memory. So we are simplifying this fraction. Now, we're writing it in the smallest way we can. You can also you might see this some other ways too. So you might hear of simplifying. The fraction, putting it into lowest terms. You can reduce the fraction, or in simplest form. So those are just some other key words or phrases you might hear that's going to ask you to be doing basically the same thing that we're doing right now. So to do this, we need to find something called the greatest common factor. And you also will hear this, and I'll refer to the greatest common factor a lot as the GCF. So I'm just taking the letter from both the beginning of each of those words to just abbreviate it and make it shorter. So to find the GCF, the first thing you're going to do is take your numerator, which is the top of your fraction, and the denominator, which is the bottom part of your fraction, and you're going to make a T-chart. So we'll have 6, and we'll have 12. Okay? So then you're going to list the factors. So, a factor is the numbers that you multiply together to get a number. So the numbers I'd multiply together to get the number 6, or factors could be the numbers that I'm multiplying together to get 12. Okay, so we are going to do this same thing. So we are going to list the factors of 6 and 12. So that's where this part comes in, the factors. So I'm going to always start with 1 and kind of go up. So I'm going to start with 1, and can I do 1 times 6? Can I do 1 times anything to get 6, which is 6, 1 times 6. And then I'll go to 2 next. So I'll think, can I do 2 times anything to get the number 6? And I can. That would be 2 times 3. Then the next number on my list would be 3, but I already have it. So if I already have done a number, that means I'm done, and I've listed all the factors that I possibly can. Okay, so I don't need to rewrite it. So then I'm going to do the same thing for the number 12. So I'm going to think 1 times what gets me 12, which would be 12. And then can I do 2 times anything to get 12? And that would be 2 times 6. And then can I do 3 times anything to get 12? Which I can. That would be 3 times 4. And then the next number would be 4, but I already have it, so that means I can stop. Okay, so we've completed that first part. We've done all the factors. So the next thing we need to do is find all the ones they have in common, which is where the C comes in. So if I look, I see they both have a number 1. They both have the number 2. And then if I come over here, they both have a 6. And they both have 3. And then 12 is the only one that has 12 and 4. 6 does not have a factor of 12 or 4, so I can't circle those. So these are all the factors that they have in common, or that they have that are the same. So then the last thing I need to do is find the one that is the greatest. So it's greatest common factor. So if I look, I have the numbers 1, 2, 3, and then 6. 6 is the biggest one they have in common. Okay, so that means that my GCF of 6 and 12, or my greatest common factor between 6 and 12, is 6. Okay, so that's something we're going to want to remember, because that is what's going to help us simplify this fraction as small as it can possibly go. Alright, so I'm going to turn to a new page, and I actually think I'm going to, sorry, one moment. Alright, I did take a screenshot of this page, and I'll also add it into the material in case you want to print this instead of writing it, or to go with what you wrote all down, but just so you have it in another way. Alright, so onto a new page. We do need to remember we had that fraction 6/12. That's what we're trying to simplify. And we learned that our GCF, our greatest common factor, is 6. Okay, these two things are very important. So the greatest common factor means that 6 is a factor of 6 and 12, and it's the biggest one that they both share. So the next thing I can do is I'm actually going to take the GCF and I'm going to divide both the numerator and the denominator by this. So I'm going to do 6 divided by 6, and then I'm going to do 12 divided by 6. Okay, so 6 divided by 6 I get 1, and then if I do 12 divided by 6 I get 2, because 2 times 6 equals 12. So if I wanted to simplify 6/12 and put it in its simplest form, my answer would be 1/2. That is as small as this fraction can go. So now I have simplified 6/12. Alright, I'm going to screenshot this very quickly so you can have it. And then the next, we're going to do one more problem together. Okay, so I'm going to get a new page. We are going to look at the fraction, let's do 4/20. So we'll do this one together also. So 4/20, so the first thing that I do is I want to find my GCF, or my greatest common factor. So I need to make T-charts for 4 and for 20. Okay, I'm going to start by listing the factors. So I would have 1 and 4, and then 2 times what can get me to 4 would be 2. Now, if I also get double numbers, that means I can stop because I've gone as high as I can go. I can't do 3 times anything, 4 times, or I already did 4 also, okay? 5 times anything, I can't get to 4, it's too big. So I'm going to do the same thing for 20. So I'm going to do 1 times 20, which I know. Then I can think, can I do 2 times anything? And I can do 2 times 10. Then I can think, can I do 3 times anything to get 20? And I can't. So I'll go to 4 next, because 3 doesn't have any. 3 is not a factor. 4 times 5 gets me 20. Well, that's a 5. Doesn't really look like one. And then if I notice, 5 would be my next number, but I already have it, so I can stop. So now I've listed all my factors for 4 and 20. So my next step is going to be to find all the ones they have in common. So I see they have 1 in common. They both have 2. And you don't need to circle both 2's. You can, but you really just need to circle at least one of them. And then I notice they both also have 4 in common. They don't have 20, 10, or 5 in common. So I found all the ones that are the same between 4 and 20. And then my last step is to find which one is the greatest. So if I look, the one that is the greatest here appears to be 4, because that's the biggest number out of 1, 2, and 4. So my GCF equals 4. Okay? So I'm going to go to a new page. So our fraction is 4/20, and our GCF equals 4. So then I'm going to take that GCF of 4 and I'm going to divide both my numerator and my denominator by it. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and then 20 divided by 4 is 5, because 4 times 5 gets me 20 and 1 times 4 gets me 4. So my answer to this problem, if I simplified 4/20, would be 1/5. That is the simplified version. All right. The next thing you are going to do is you are going to try some problems on your own. And then once you try them, you are going to have to upload a photo, a video, whatever you choose to show me that you've tried the few example problems. So that's your next step.